Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the historical background and development of profession of pharmacy, dosage forms, prescription and posology. It is basically the unit 1 of the subject pharmaceutics first, which is prescribed by the curriculum of Pharmacy Council of India as well as AKTU. So first we will discuss about the syllabus. So the unit 1 consists of four major headings. In first heading, which discuss historical background and development of profession of pharmacy, in which we will discuss history of profession of pharmacy in India in relation to pharmacy education, industry and organization, pharmacy as a career, and pharmacopoeias, which in particular we will discuss about Indian pharmacopoeia, British pharmacopoeia, as well as United States pharmacopoeia. Second heading discusses about various types of dosage forms, its classification, as well as the definitions. Third subheading discusses about the prescription, its definition, parts of prescription, and handling and errors in prescription. Last heading discusses about the posology, its definition, factors affecting posology, various calculation based on pediatric dose, on age, on body weight, and on body surface area. So we will start with the historical background and development of profession of pharmacy. So we will start with the first slide, that is introduction to pharmacy. So what is pharmacy? It is particularly derived from the Greek word that is pharm, and the word pharma used since the 15th and 17th centuries. It particularly originates from the Greek word pharmakon, which means a drug. Traditionally, pharmacy is known as art and science of making medicines, particularly the drugs. Modern age pharmacy is the science and technique of preparing and dispensing drugs. So now we will discuss about the definition of pharmacy. Pharmacy is particularly defined as the profession which is concerned with the art and science of identification, selection, preparation, preservation, standardization of particular suitable drug substances from natural and synthetic sources, and the formulations which are meant for administration of diagnosis, prevention, and treatment purposes. It is particularly the health profession that links health sciences with chemical sciences and aims to ensure the safe and effective use of pharmaceutical drugs. Next slide discusses about various concepts linked to the pharmacy. So first concept is apothecary. Apothecary is the particular historical name for the medical professional who formulate and dispense medicine to the patient and physicians. This role now served by the pharmacist. It is particularly the medical professional in ancient times whose name was apothecary, who particularly who particularly defines the role of the pharmacist. The work which is done by the pharmacist now is done by the apothecary in the ancient times. So pharmacists are the healthcare professionals who practice in pharmacy, the field of health sciences focusing on safe and effective medication use. They have license to prepare dispense medications involved in patient care, counseling, and monitor outcomes pursuant to prescription from licensed healthcare professional. So next slide discusses about the history of profession of pharmacy. So particularly the evolution of pharmacy profession can be divided into five historical periods. First is ancient era. It is particularly the beginning of the time to 1600 AD. Second is empiric era from 1600 to 1940. Third is industrialization era from 1940 to 1970. Fourth is patient care era, 1970 to present. And fifth is advanced pharmaceutical, biotechnological, and genetic engineering era. It is particularly the research which is now going on. and the called the New Horizon. So we will discuss about the ancient era. Generally used leaves, muds, and cool water to stop the bleeding and heal the wounds. Particularly in the ancient era, we particularly use leaves, mud, and cool water to stop the cuts and the healing of the wound. Healing of the open wound is done by the leaves, mud, and cool water. So, talking about the ancient era, two main regions came. First is Chinese, that is 2000 BC. They particularly produced herbal drugs with spiritual effects. They were credited to the first user of podophyllum, rhubarb, ginseng, and cinnamon. These are particularly the herbal herbs which are capable of treating certain ailments at that time. Second is Indian era, that is 800 BC. The Indians' art of healing was almost as old as the religion of Hinduism itself. So, from Indian perspective, Ayurveda attained the state of reverence and is classified as one of the Veda, a subsection attached to the Atharvaveda. It also deals with the diseases, injuries, fertility, sanity, and health. So, particularly in if we discuss about the Indian ancient era, particularly from Indian perspective, so the first thing that came to our mind is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is nothing but the subsection which is attached to the Atharvaveda, and Atharvaveda is one of the Ved present in the Hindu mythology. So, talking about the Ayurveda, it is an ancient science of life, incorporates all forms of lifestyle and therapy. Thus, yoga, aroma, meditation, gems, amulets, herbs, diets, astrology, color and surgery, etc. are used in comprehensive manner in treating patients. The main pillars of Ayurveda are Charak Samhita, Sushrut Samhita, Vagbhata. So the Charak Samhita compiled and edited by Maharshi Charak at that time, and Sushrut Samhita addressed all aspects of general medicine. Next is Theophrastus, the Greek philosopher around 300 BC studied the plants, herbs, and shrubs extensively, hence referred as the father of botany. So now we particularly discuss about the main persons which contribute to the development of pharmacy. So first word comes to the mind when considering the pharmacy is the Greeks. Greeks are the first one who promote the pharmacy profession in the world. From 466 to 377 BC, the person was Hippocrates. He was known as the father of medicine. He established the basics of clinical medicine as it is practiced today. He also introduced numerous medical terms universally used by the physicians, including symptom, diagnosis, therapy, trauma, and sepsis. Second is 384 to 322 BCE, Aristotle. He is regarded as the godfather of evidence-based medicine. He was the greatest thinker in politics, psychology, and ethics. Next person comes within the time period of 40 to 88 is Dioscorides. He was the Greek physician and he was popularly known as the father of pharmacology because he wrote 5 volumes on medicine and pharmacy called De Materia Medica and served the foundation for other books in medical profession. Next is 131 to 200 AD comes the Galen. He was recognized as the first pharmacist and he was the first one to formulate the cold cream which we use particularly in winter season. He was the first one to extract therapeutic constituents from plants called galenicals and he made available various formula and methods of preparation. So the credit of first pharmacist goes to the Galen and he was recognized as the first pharmacist because he was the first one to formulate the particular cold cream. Next comes the era of the 754 AD. That is, the first apothecary, drugstore, or pharmacy was set up in Baghdad. After the fall of Roman Empire, division of pharmacy and medicine evolved, and German Emperor Frederick II felt that pharmacy should be separated from medicine. So this is all about the ancient era. Now, the next era that comes as empiric era. Empiric era starts from 1600 to 1940. So first time period from 1645 to 1751 comes for Lamary. She reported importance of extraction method, and she also used the majority of extraction alcohol for majority of extractions. Next is Sweetie Lenos. She belonged to the period of 1707 to 1778, and she was responsible for classifying plants and introduced the binomial system of taxonomy. Particularly, this is the system which we use for naming the plants. So the next year came as 1821. It is particularly in year 1821, first United States Pharmacopoeia was published, and the first in the 1821 year itself, first school of pharmacy was established in Philadelphia, United States. In the year 1852, American Pharmacy Association was established by William Proctor Jr., and he devoted his time and attention for the advancement of pharmacy profession. He was known as the father of pharmacy, while Emil Schroff is known as father of pharmacy education in India. Particularly, William Proctor Jr. was responsible for all the developments that were happened at that time in pharmacy profession. So he was entitled as a father of pharmacy. But particularly if we talk about India, the credit goes to the Professor Emil Schroff. He was known as the father of pharmacy education in India. Next, we will discuss about the history of pharmacy profession in India. So, in 1840, Goa Medical College was started in Panaji. In 1841, Bengal Dispensary and Edinburgh Pharmacopoeia was published. In 1817, marked the birth of pharmacy in India, that is Madras State trained students in pharmacy practice. In 1881, Bengal Institute was started to train students as compounders. In 1901, the Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals were in Kolkata by Professor P. Ray, and in 1907, Alembic Chemicals was set up in Baroda by Professor G.K. Vijay. Next comes the 1930, the Sera vaccines and anesthetics and few simple drugs production that was begun at that time of era. Next, the date comes 11th August 1930. The government of India appointed particularly a committee under the chairmanship of late Colonel R.N. Chopra to see into the problems of pharmacy education in India and recommended the measures to be taken. In the year 1935, United Provincial Pharmaceutical Association, later called Indian Pharmaceutical Association, was established, and in 1937, BHU started the first B.Pharmacy course under the guidance of Professor Emil Schroff. Particularly, he was known as the father of pharmacy education in India. In the year 1939, Indian Journal of Pharmacy was started by the Professor Emil Schroff. So, this was all about this era. Next comes the industrialization era. Industrialization era starts from the year 1940, in which All India Pharmaceutical Congress Association was established. In the year 1941, the first Drugs Technical Advisory Board under this act was constituted, and Central Drug Laboratory was established in Calcutta. In the year 1942, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research was registered. In the year 1945, Drug Rule and the Drug Act of 1940 was established. In the year 1945, government brought the Pharmacy Bill to standardize the pharmacy education in India. And in the year 1946, the Indian Pharmacopoeia list was published under the chairmanship of Colonel R.N. Chopra. Next year comes is 1948, in which Pharmacy Act 1948 was enacted, and Indian Pharmacopoeia Committee was constituted under the chairmanship of late Dr. B.N. Ghosh. In the year 1949, Pharmacy Council of India was established under Pharmacy Act 1948, and in 1954, education regulation have come in force. In 1954, Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954 was particularly passed at that time. Next comes 15 November 1954, Emil Shroff was elected as first president of PCI, and in 1954, Hindustan Antibiotics Limited was set up to increase the production of antibiotics, particularly in India. In the year 1955, Medicinal and Toilet Preparations, particularly Excise Duties Act, was enacted, and in year 1955, first edition of Indian Pharmacopoeia was published. In the year 1960, collaboration between Research and Development Unit of Industry and National Laboratories and Academia was started, and the year 1970, special provision was given to the Indian Patent Act. Talking about the year 1985, Narcotic and Psychotropic Substances Act has been passed, and from 1985 to 1990, various number of pharmaceutical manufacturing plants were set up in India. This is all about the eras that we discussed about the pharmacy. Next comes the particularly pharmacy education in India. In July 1937, pharmacy education was started in India, and the Pharmacy Council of India (PCI) was constituted on March 9, 1949, to ensure uniform education and training purpose for individuals interested in pharmacy profession. Presently available pharmacy courses in India are B.Pharm for the duration of 2 years. It is particularly a diploma course. B.Pharm for 4 years. It is particularly a bachelor's course. M.Pharm master's course for the duration of 2 years. Then PharmD for the duration of 5 years, and then PhD in pharmacy, particularly depend upon the tenure 3 to 6 years. So particularly pharmacy education in India includes a blend of theory and practical classes and examination besides compulsory industrial or hospital training in varying periods depending upon the course selected. Particularly, there will be the never-ending demand for pharmacy professionals in India as well as the globe. There are numerous organizations that are associated with the pharmacy profession in India, namely PCI State, PCI AICT, particularly to regulate the standards of the profession. Pharmacy education in India is regulated by two organizations, particularly the Pharmacy Council of India and under the Pharmacy Act of 1948, and the All India Council for Technical Education, which was established under the AICTE Act of 1987. Next, we will talk about the Indian pharmaceutical industry perspective. In 1930, in Calcutta, the first pharmaceutical company called Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceutical Works. The history of Indian pharmaceutical market in 1970 was almost non-existent. Today, India has gained immense importance in the pharmaceutical domain. Now, Indian pharmaceutical industry is the world's third largest in terms of volume and 14th in terms of value. India is a major exporter of pharmaceuticals with over 200 plus countries served by the India pharma exports. Particularly, India supplies over 50% of Africa's requirement for generics, approximate 40% of generic demand in the US, and approximate 25% of all medicine in the UK. It also accounts for the 60% global vaccine demand and is leading supplier of DPT, BCG, and measles vaccines, and particularly 70% of WHO's vaccine as per the essential immunization schedule are sourced from India. Next, Sun Pharmaceuticals, Aurobindo, Dr. Reddy, Zydus, Cipla, Glenmark, Alkem. These are the particularly top 10 pharmaceuticals companies of India. So here we discuss particularly the pharmacy as a career. So the scope of pharmacy practice generally includes the compounding and the dispensing of medications and more modern services such as clinical services providing drug information in particular. Pharmacy is a career option which has always been at the forefront. Today, sky is the limit for pharma graduate depending on the qualification, talent, and experience. There are numerous avenues for pharma professionals. Those who have qualified individuals in pharmacy course have excellent opportunities, particularly in industry, academia, hospitals, research industries, and government departments. So these are the particularly job opportunities for pharmacy professionals. So a pharmacist can work in particularly in three settings. First is practice settings, other second settings, and industry. Talking about the practice settings, he can work as a community pharmacist, hospital pharmacist, or a clinical pharmacist. Talking about the other settings, first is academics. He can teach or he can do research. Second is clinical research, and third is regulatory. Talking about the industry, a pharmacist can work in production, quality assurance, R&D, quality control, packaging, regulatory, and sales and marketing. So first we will talk about the practice settings, that is hospital pharmacist. Particularly hospital as a pharmacist, they undertake the responsibility of particularly stock controls, storage, placing orders, labeling, and financial budgeting. Next is community pharmacist, dispensing of prescription and OTC medication to the public, reviewing of prescriptions from doctors to ensure the accuracy and suitability for the patient. Next is clinical pharmacist. Clinical pharmacists are responsible and accountable for medication therapy and patient outcomes. Next, we talk about the industry. In industry, there are various departments, out of which first is production. The production department of pharmaceutical companies is the engine behind the manufacturing of life-saving medications. Majority of pharmacy graduates work in this particular domain. Next is quality control and quality assurance. Quality control meticulously tests each batch of drugs to guarantee safety and efficacy, while quality assurance establishes the enforces the standards that underpin the entire production process. Next department of industry is packaging. Packaging in pharmaceuticals is more than just a container. It is particularly crucial to aspect of drug safety and patient convenience. It provides safety to medications. Next is sales and marketing. In pharmaceutical, sales and marketing professionals promote and distribute medication to healthcare providers, ensuring that accessibility and educating their benefits. Next department comes particularly the regulatory affairs. Here, experts navigate the complex process of pharmaceutical regulations to ensure that drugs meet safety and efficacy standards. They liaise with the regulatory authorities and play a vital role in product approvals, compliance, and labeling accuracy. Next department comes as pharmacovigilance. Here, professionals monitor and assess the safety of the drug products, particularly when drug comes in the market. They collect, analyze, and report adverse events contributing to the ongoing safety evaluation of medications and regulatory compliance. Next is research and development. In pharmaceutical, R&D scientists and researchers innovate by discovering and developing new drugs. They conduct preclinical and clinical trials, striving to bring novel treatments to the market and improve existing ones through scientific inquiry and experimentation. Next, we will talk about the other settings. As a pharmacist, one can work as a pharmacist in different departments of government such as railway, navy, army, and state and central government. Drug inspector is an elite job option for pharmacy graduate, involves control of licensing authority. For entering research job, one needs to clear examinations conducted by respective departments. Next is business. A pharmacy career in business involves managing and operating pharmacies, drug distribution companies, or pharmaceutical sales. It focuses on the particular commercial aspects of the pharmaceutical industry, ensuring medications reach patients safety efficiently. Next setting is talking about the academics. Academics in the pharmacy lead to the teaching and research roles in the universities or colleges. Professors educate the future pharmacists and conduct research to advance pharmaceutical knowledge and practices. Next comes the consultancy. Pharmacy consultancy offers expertise to pharmaceutical companies, healthcare organizations, or government agencies. Consultants provide guidance in drug development, regulatory compliance, and healthcare strategy. Next is clinical research. A career in clinical research involves conducting trials to evaluate the safety and effectiveness of new drugs. Researchers work with patients to gather data, contribute to the development of new medications. Next is entrepreneur. An entrepreneur in pharmacy, individuals can start their pharmacies or healthcare related ventures. This path allows for innovations in healthcare services, drug delivery, or healthcare technology. Next, further studies. Pursuing further studies such as master's or PhD or specialized certifications can lead to the advanced roles in pharmacy like pharmaceutical research, academia, or the specialized clinical practice. It particularly offers opportunities for in-depth expertise and leadership, particularly on the field. So next we will discuss the various pharmacopoeias that we refer in our. The first word in pharmacy particularly comes as the pharmacopoeia. The word pharmacopoeia was derived from the pharmacon, which is meaning drug, and poio, which is pharmacon meaning drug, and poio means making of the drug. Particularly, pharmacopoeia is a legal and official book. It is issued by the recognized authorities, usually appointed by the government of each country. It comprises list of pharmaceutical substances, formula along with their description and standards in order to build quality and maintain uniformity. Particularly, pharmacopoeias are updated on timely basis to introduce latest information available as early as possible. Talking about the content of pharmacopoeia, first content is monograph. Particularly, monograph contains drugs, chemical composition, physical properties, manufacturing methods, quality control test, and dosages. Next comes general chapters. It particularly consists of dosage form, example tablet, capsules, injections, pharmaceutical excipients, inactive ingredients, and quality control procedures, stability testing, and microbial limits. Next is reference standards. Pharmacopoeias provide reference standards and serve as benchmarks for testing the quality of drugs and pharmaceuticals. These standards are used particularly to calibrate instruments and verify the test results. Next comes the control procedures. These are pharmacopoeias, outline methods and procedures for testing the identity, purity, potency, and safety of the drugs. These include analytical techniques, specifications for equipment, and criteria for acceptable results. Next comes the dosage forms. It is particularly the information on the formulation, labeling, and storage requirements for different pharmaceutical dosage forms, such as tablet, capsules, creams, and injections. Next is compendia. Compendia in the context of pharmacopoeias are the books that contains the standards for a drug and other related substances. They are of particularly two types, official and non-official compendia. Official compendia, particularly example Indian Pharmacopoeia and British Pharmacopoeia, and non-official compendia, particularly the Merck Index and the Extra Pharmacopoeia. So this is all about, due to the time constraint, this is all about for one video. In the next videos, we will discuss the upcoming topics that I have discussed in this video. So till then, keep studying and keep repeating. Thank you.